time ago, in the land of Israel, there lived God's people, but the people were not listening to God. Because of this, their enemies, the Philistines, were being very mean to them. Now, in a quiet little village, there was a woman who had no children. She wanted a baby so much, but she had none. One day, something amazing happened. An angel of the Lord came to her and said, "Do not be afraid, you will have a baby boy. You must not drink any strong drink or eat any forbidden food," the angel said. "He will be very special. He will belong to God from the very beginning. He will help save God's people from the Philistines." The woman was so happy, she told her husband Manoah, and Manoah prayed and asked God to send him the angel so he could get directions on how to care for the child. The angel visited again, and Manoah asked for instructions on how to raise the child. The angel instructed them and told them that no razor must touch his hair. When the baby was born, they both named him Samson. As Samson grew, something very special happened. God gave him great strength. His hair was never cut, because it was a sign that he belonged to God. When Samson was a boy, he was already strong. He could lift heavy things. He could run very fast. He could climb high rocks. People would whisper, "Wow, look at Samson. God has made him strong." Everywhere Samson went, people could see he was not like anyone else. He was God's mighty helper. When Samson grew up, he became a strong young man. One day, he went with his parents to a town called Timnah. While walking there, Samson saw a young woman. She was a Philistine woman. Samson thought she was very beautiful. Samson hurried back to his parents and said, "Mother, Father, I saw a woman in Timnah, and I want to marry her. Please get her for me." But his parents looked surprised. "Samson, isn't there a good woman from our own people?" they asked. "Why must you marry a Philistine?" But Samson said, "No, she is the one I want. Please get her for me." Samson didn't know it yet, but God was going to use even this marriage to begin fighting against the Philistines. So Samson went with his parents back toward Timnah to meet the woman. On the way, something scary happened. A young lion jumped out, roaring loudly. "Roar!" Samson was all alone, but suddenly God's spirit came upon him, and he became very strong. Samson caught the lion with his bare hands, and whoosh! He tore it apart. Do you know what's amazing? Samson didn't even have a sword or a stick. He only used the strength that came from God. But Samson didn't tell his parents what had happened. He kept it a secret. Some time later, Samson passed by that same road again. And guess what? Inside the lion's body, there was something very sweet. Bees had made a hive, and there was honey. Samson scooped out some honey with his hands. Yummy. He even shared some with his parents, but he didn't tell them where the honey came from. At last, Samson's wedding day came. In those days, weddings were big celebrations with lots of food, music, and fun. Samson invited 30 Philistine men to be with him. During the feast, Samson thought of a clever idea. He wanted to give them a riddle. He said, "Let me tell you a riddle. If you can solve it in 7 days of the feast, I will give you 30 fine linen clothes and 30 sets of clothes. But if you cannot solve it, then you must give me 30 fine clothes." The men agreed. "Tell us your riddle." And Samson said, "Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet." The men thought and thought. They scratched their heads. They couldn't figure it out. The Philistine men didn't want to lose. So they went to Samson's new wife and said, "Trick your husband into telling us the answer, or we will hurt you and your family." The woman began to cry. She begged Samson every day, "Please tell me the answer. If you love me, you must tell me." Samson didn't want to tell, but at last he gave in. He told her, "It is honey from the lion." Right away, the woman ran to tell the Philistine men. On the 7th day, before the sun went down, the men came to Samson and said, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" Samson knew at once that they had cheated. He said, "If you had not cheated, you would not have solved my riddle." Samson became very angry. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went to another city and struck down 30 Philistines. He took their clothes and gave them to the men who had solved the riddle. After that, Samson was so upset that he went back to his father's house. And do you know what happened? While Samson was gone, his wife was given to another man. One day, Samson thought, I will go back and see my wife. It's time to visit her. He walked down the road to Timnah with a big smile, but when he arrived, something terrible had happened. Her father said, I thought you didn't want her anymore. I gave her to another man, but you can marry her younger sister instead. Samson's face grew very serious. He was not happy at all. He shook his head and said, No, this is not right. You treated me unfairly. Now I will get even with the Philistines. Samson had a clever idea. He looked around the land. There were foxes running in the fields. Do you know what a fox looks like? It has a fluffy tail and runs very fast. Samson began to chase them. First one, fox, then 2, then 3. He kept running and catching them until he had not 10, not 20, but 300 foxes. The Philistines were still being mean to God's people, but whenever they tried to hurt Samson, they could never win. Samson tied the foxes in pairs, tail to tail. Then he took a torch like a burning stick with fire on the end. He tied a torch to each pair of tails. The foxes wriggled and squirmed. Then Samson let them go. Whoosh! The foxes ran into the Philistines' fields. They ran through the wheat, through the vineyards, and through the olive trees. And everywhere they ran, fire spread. Crackle, crackle, whoosh! The Philistines' crops burned, their food burned, their fields were gone. The Philistines cried out, Who did this? Someone answered, It was Samson. He is angry because his wife was given away. The Philistines became very angry too. They marched to Samson's wife's house, and sadly they set it on fire. Samson's heart hurt when he heard the news. He was even more upset now. Samson said, I will not stop until I punish you for this. Samson went out with all his strength. He fought against the Philistines, and once again God gave him power to win. The Philistines learned that they could not defeat Samson, not by lies, not by tricks, not even by fire, because Samson's strength came from God. One time, the Philistines tied Samson with ropes. They thought, Now we caught him. But do you know what happened? Samson pulled, and the ropes broke like threads of string. Snap! Then Samson picked up the first thing he saw. Can you guess what it was? It was the jawbone of a donkey. Not a sword, not a spear, just a jawbone. And with God's power, Samson chased the Philistines away. The Israelites shouted, Hooray for Samson! God has made him strong to help us. Samson met another woman named Delilah, and he loved her and wanted to marry her. Sadly, Delilah did not love him back. She only wanted to find out the secret of his strength. The Philistines promised her lots of silver if she could trick him. So Delilah asked him, Samson, what makes you so strong? Tell me your secret. At first, Samson did not tell her. He said silly things like, If you tie me with 7 new ropes, I will be weak. But when they tied him snap, he broke free. Delilah kept asking and asking, Samson, what makes you strong? Please tell me. At last, Samson gave in. He told her, My hair has never been cut. If my hair is cut, I will lose my strength. That is my promise to God. Oh, Samson told the secret. While Samson slept, Delilah called the Philistines. They cut off all of Samson's hair. Snip, snip, snip. His long hair fell to the ground. When Samson woke up, he tried to be strong. He tried to break free like before, but this time he could not. The Philistines grabbed him. They laughed at him. They hurt him. They put him in chains and made him a prisoner. Samson felt so sad. He knew he had disobeyed God. But Samson's hair began to grow again. And even more important, Samson's heart grew close to God again. One day, the Philistines brought Samson to their big temple. They wanted to laugh at him and make fun of him. Thousands of people were inside, clapping and shouting. Samson stood between two tall pillars. He prayed, "Dear Lord, please give me strength one more time so I can fight your enemies." God heard Samson's prayer. With all his might, Samson pushed the pillars. He pushed with his hands. He pushed with his strength. Crack, crack, crash. The whole temple fell down. Samson defeated the Philistines because God gave him strength one last time. What can we learn from the story of Samson? Our strength comes from God. We must always listen to God. Even if we make mistakes, we can pray and return to God. And that is the mighty story of Samson, God's strong man.